Hello, ladies. Welcome back to those of you who are returning, and welcome to everyone who is new here. If you're new, would you pop it in the chat box? And if you're returning, will you let us know? We'd love to know who is coming back and who is new. Hi, Stephanie. Nice to see you again. And Angie. Nice to see you all. Hi, Gwen, Natalia. And if you want to turn your camera on, it creates a little bit more intimacy. If you want to leave it off, that's okay too. But it's nice to be able to feel one another, to see you, to feel you. Yes. Hi, Lisa. So just want to say thank you all for joining today. Yes. So what do we do here? Well, first off, we're all women. So if you happen to be a man and you made your way here, bless you. I love you. You are too important. But we've gone all women. And you may have been on my list for a long time if you're a man. I've been doing this for almost 20 years in different stages. And I finally had the courage to come out of the closet and go all women, sort of speak. And why all women? Well, because I really believe in us. I believe in all people. I believe in men. I'm married to a man. I believe that women are the cure to what ails the world. Yes, I believe that with all of the good nurturing, the love, the sincerity that we have in our hearts, when properly nurtured, what we are capable of, really. I'm going to pull a little light a little bit. Oh no, that didn't work. Okay, what we are capable of as women, we are capable of so much properly nourished. I'd like to know how many of you, and we do this as a kind of sign language. If you agree with something, if you concur, we do one of these so we can create more closeness here. How many of you have felt like, oh, she's just that crazy woman, you know, she's got all these crazy ideas. She's just a little bit wild, that woman. Any of you get that? Yes, yes. And here in this context, that's a beautiful thing. That's the greatest thing that we could do, is to be our wild, abundant, opulent, the word I would say in English, opulent selves. And to be properly nourished is really what we're looking at here. So we're going to go into what that means technically. And this time our lesson's going to be on the enteric nervous system, which is also called our second brain. Yeah, we're going to go more into that. And we're going to relate it into our intuition, into what happens for us when we are properly nourished, just plain old vitamins, minerals, hormones working properly. But that would be a little bit one-dimensional if we didn't talk about it nurturing our wild sense of self. Yes, and I don't mean wild in terms of out of control or irresponsible or inappropriate in any way. I mean it in terms of being full with our goodness, with all of our love, with our beauty. When I look around here and I see all women, I see nothing but love. I see nothing but just pure emotional, empathic intelligence alive behind each of our eyes. Yet we have been heavily programmed and conditioned to man up, to protect ourselves. And I know already what you go through as a woman, because I am one, because I have many sisters. I work mainly only with women. I never really had the courage to go all women, but it was only ever women that came to all. I've been coaching for many, many years. I've been doing this for 18 years. And I started out as in my early 20s as someone doing massage, doing body work. And some of you may have heard me speak about this before. But when I touched someone, I realized I was hearing their story and I was feeling what they were feeling. Do any of you feel what others feel? Do you sense others? Do you empathically just know what's going on with another person? Maybe even more than they do. Yes, of course you do, because you're a woman. You're wonder. You are of supreme intelligence. Mm, yes. No matter what stage of life that we're in, whether we're a young woman and we're just getting our little boobies, or, we're already menstruating, or we are in perimenopause and we don't know it. That's the thing about perimenopause. When we're getting to our late 30s or early 40s, we don't know we're not going to be young forever, and that, oh, my body's changing already. Oh, but by the time we get into our late 40s and the menopause kicks in, those of you at this stage of life know exactly what I mean. So we're going to talk about in our work here today about the different stages that we go through in relation to the enteric nervous system, and perhaps even our sexuality, how we make money, how you feel about your body, and to learn how we can use nutrition, vegan plant nutrition, to not only nourish our bodies, but to me that would be one dimensional if we didn't talk about our soul, if we didn't talk about this deep well of wisdom that we can tap most readily when our brain is functioning well. Yeah. Because nutrition brings us alive. But I also mean the nourishment in your life and how you feel about yourself, about your own beauty. Do you admit to yourself that you're beautiful? I want to ask each question. I mean that seriously. Do you relish in your own beauty? Yes, I see Amina there saying yes. Yes. So that's what I want to encourage. I want to encourage us as women, if we are at all batting or shaming. I hit 50 2 years ago, and all of a sudden my body's changing like crazy. And so once I got beyond the vanity of the ego blow of that, the wisdom started coming a bit more. So these are some of the things we're going to go into today and share about, from perhaps a kind of, just pure science level. I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit of a nerd. Any other nerds here that love to just geek out on hormones and nutrition and, understand it and connect with it? Yes, I love that as well. But, again, that would be a little bit boring if we didn't have a context for it having a higher purpose, meaning to why we are alive as women in these times. How many of you believe that you are alive as a woman at the particular stage of womanhood that you're in? How many of you believe that's for a reason right now? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yes. My feeling is that we were born for these times, that everything you've ever gone through, okay, everything prepared us for this. Anybody here have just to be very frank, a tough childhood? Anybody have a tough childhood here? Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I could put two hands up. Yeah, yeah. And for many of us, that's true. Now, working with mainly women and having a business in Bali for the past 10 years, where I ran raw food chef trainings and detox trainings. And there's Alina there. Hi, Alina. She's one of our girls in our trainings, and Lisa there. She's one of our graduates, beauties. What we do is we dive into these sort of topics very deeply. And so I've had the good fortune of sitting with many, many women, all different sizes and shapes and colors. And just to be very frank, I'll ask them this question. Okay, and this, I'm not going to put you on the spot or anything. It's just for you. How many of us here as women have been through some form of sexual abuse? Yes, most of us. Oh yeah, you're so brave. Those of you with your hands up, thank you. Most of it, yes, yes, yes. There's no shame in admitting it, huh? Because the more we can be very forthright about what we have been through as women, the deeper we can heal. The deeper we can understand our topic today, the enteric nervous system, and what you may be holding in your colon. There's science behind all of this. How it's affecting the neural pathways into your brain that tell you you are beautiful, powerful, alive in these times right now for a very important reason. Or the opposite, because that old guilt and shame tape is still alive, making us feel bad about our bodies. Or maybe somebody didn't acknowledge you or tell you you were beautiful as a child, as a little girl. Yeah. Yeah, this is the commonality of women, and why I'm so happy that we can talk. I love us. And my whole thing is that if we can do this for ourselves, what's possible that we can do for the men that we love and our children? But we're going to need to understand some of those old tapes that are running. And we're going to do that again through some science, through some emotional support. And towards the latter part of our session, we're going to get in very deep. Now, I want to encourage you to stick through the whole session. Stay till the end, because when we go into our readings, and there's going to be a few of you I know are very brave, are very willing to be seen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read your system, and we're going to extract messages for one person to the whole, from the microcosm to the macrocosm. And if you're someone who's not well, thank you for being here. I know it takes a lot of energy to be here. So we're going to get started here in just a moment. I want to ask you one more question, just so I can get a little bit more of a group feel. Tell me, how many of you are not feeling well? How many of you have something going on? Yeah, will you pop it in the chat box for me? Tell me, just give me a couple of words. Is it low energy? Is it chronic fatigue? You have inflammation? What's going on with you? Give me just a couple of words so I can feel you a little bit more and I can speak to you more directly. Yeah. Okay, some autoimmune and some stuckness and some insomnia. Okay. Moods. Yeah. This is all coming back to our gut health. This is one of the reasons why I'm asking you this, because we're going to really get into our second brain. Okay. Arthritis and autoimmune. Yeah. Tired all the time, no matter how much you sleep, Elaine. Thank you. Tiredness. Yeah, not 100%. Yeah. Yes. Necessarily, some of the sexual things, and some of us went through all of that. So you've come to a place where you are seen, you are heard, you are held, and you are loved. Why? Because that's our nature as women. You love a lot. I know you do. Who here loves a lot? You do. I know you do. I know you do. Yes, yes. So this is the place that we're getting down into together so that we can amalgamate, we can unify here and become stronger. And what we're going to do is we're going to hear and feel and hold and listen to those places that are tired, that are anxious, that are not well physically, emotionally, sexually, financially. They're all, in my way of working, they are all symptoms of an opportunity to come deeply into understanding and knowing who we are. And I mean that from the body to the mind to the soul. So know that you come to a place that's very different. Yes, I'm a doctor of naturopathy. but I'm a woman first. I'm someone deeply committed to the science of who we are, yet we got to understand ourselves on a whole other level. So Amina, I'm going to ask you to pull up that chart on the enteric nervous system. I'm going to show you a visual. Okay, let's get to know this enteric nervous system.
Would you like me to send it to you, or would you like me to do a screen share?
I couldn't open it before, so if you can screen share with it, that would be great. So what is this thing called the enteric nervous system? It's our second brain. This second brain is alive in our gut, and it is independent from the brain in our head. Some studies say that it was our first brain, and that eventually we evolved to having a brain in our head. It's ancient. It's very much connected into our parasympathetic nervous system and our autonomic nervous system, which governs the part of us that is making your eyes blink, making us breathe right now. It's very much emotionally informed, the enteric nervous system. It's also called the gut-brain axis. So Amina's bringing up our chart. I want to give you a visual of this. Let's start down here in the gut. You're going to see these little red dots here. You can see my cursor moving. So essentially, this second brain, the enteric nervous system, is represented by these red dots living a lot in our colon. So you see, it's responsible for how well we eliminate in one sense. It does many things. But if you aren't pooing well, that means if you're not pooing 3 times a day, then you are somewhat constipated. We need to poo at least twice a day. But if you're someone who's only pooing once a day, or you're not pooing well, this is where our original problems start. And as a woman, this is where, if you have any kind of hormonal issues, or some of you who spoke about you're not well, we want to start right here with the enteric nervous system in our colon. This is why we go plant-based, okay? This is why I'm very much into staying off the meat, dairy, sugar, gluten, and all this stuff that just jams up your colon. This is your large intestine right here. That's something like 9 feet long. Now, your enteric nervous system is very much emotional based, because remember, it's going to travel up here, and it's going to into really your esophagus, and it's going into our stomach. It's going into our trachea, all the way up our windpipe, and it's going into our brain, and it's governed. This is our spine, our central nervous system, and so it's very much connected into our cranial nerves here in our neck. It's all feeding back into our nervous system. So how does all of this relate to your intuition, your gut instinct? It works something like this. Let's say you meet someone for the first time. We just met, many of us, we just met. All of a sudden, boom, as soon as we meet, you're getting impulses. And that's nerve impulses stimulated from your central nervous system into your enteric nervous system here in your colon. Now, bear with me if this is a little bit technical. I'm going to just do my best to break it down so it's really simple. Essentially, what's happening, you're getting like little impulses, and you're picking it up through your second brain, this intelligence here in your gut, which is very much governed by your microbiome. Now, if you've been on these calls before, you know we've studied a lot about the microbiome now. Your microbiome is your flora living in this gut. And if it is unfriendly, if that environment in here is unfriendly, let's say we've been feeding it full of junk food and fast food and stress and negative thoughts about ourselves and negative thinking, then what's going to happen is that you're going to have tension here. And this is in a very much an acidic environment. And those nerve impulses that we spoke about, like when you first meet someone, like when we first met, those nerve impulses may not read accurately. So our work here is about emptying out this colon and getting properly nourished, so your enteric nervous system begins to feed messages into your brain of, I am safe. I am whole. I am nothing but goodness. But when this environment here is acidic, basically, if those of you who are on our lesson about pH balance, you remember about what that means. Amina, can you mute all? So these impulses here are going to get distorted, and we may not trust our gut instinct. So our objective here is to get our enteric nervous system finely tuned. Yeah, that's what our work is. You can take it down, Amina. That's what our work is about. It's about this enteric nervous system becoming so acutely finely tuned, so sharp, that those messages into your brain work very quickly, and you comprehend it, you understand it, and you're able to discern the messages of health, what's good for you, and what's not, without those old filters creeping in that make you want to self-sabotage or be harmful to yourself. If you have any relationship issues in your life, or things aren't going so well with some of the people you love, could it be as a result of the information you're getting from your gut? Now, if that sounds odd or far-fetched, come back into the enteric nervous system's intelligence. It's empathic. It's emotional based. It's influenced very much, just technically speaking, by diet, by nutrition, behavior, and environment, and what we put into ourselves. So when you have a gut instinct, you're having a very deep intuition. And remember, it's nerve impulses. It's nerve impulses like kind of going off and on in your gut. You know that feeling when we call it like butterflies in your belly? We know that feeling, right? Or sometimes like your belly will flip over, like something shocking happened, it just kind of goes like that. This is your enteric nervous system receiving information and instantly acting and feeding that message into your brain. Now, why is this relevant? Why is this important? Because the more aware you are technically how this works, then my prayer for us is that we learn how to feed this gut in a way that is robust to your true feminine nature. Yes. So if we are feeding our gut with alkalinity, juiciness, with foods that are high in fiber, that are water-based, what we're talking about here is a diet, a plant-based diet that is a high raw diet. Lots of juicy salad. If you're eating food, even plant food, that is so heavily cooked, and you're eating loads and loads of grains, your enteric nervous system may not be able to receive and interpret the messages coming in, those impulses, in a rapid way that you need in order to have sparked intuition. Now, if this sounds like a lot of work, let's just erase that thought from our mind. What it takes is desire, curiosity, interest to say, ooh, what's possible when I'm properly hydrated? When the electrical currents in my gut are being fed by food that has an alive bioelectrical current. What is a bioelectrical current? All living beings, plants, animals, people, have an electrical current. All of us do. Now, when we high heat our food, we eat preservatives, we denature our food, that electrical current diminishes. when our food is cooked so down so much that it destroys the fiber, just sitting there in that colon, backing up, sucking out the water, trying to digest from your colon, dehydrating us. So if you want to age beautifully, which it is our birthright as women to not only be beautiful, but to feel beautiful. Because the more beautiful you and I feel, the more beauty, the more love we're going to bring into this world. I believe, I don't know about you, but I believe this is our duty as women. And I don't mean obligation, heavy stuff. I mean my honor. Oh, yes. May I take such nourishing, good care of my belly, of my microbiome, my enteric nervous system, sending messages into my brain. May I take such good care of it that you and I are healing forces on this planet, forces of nature, like beautiful sun shining down and helping all of the plants to come up out of the ground. What if this is the nature of woman? Now, I know what happens for us as women, though. What do? We put everybody else first. Who puts everyone else first? Do you put everybody else first? Do you take care of everybody? Yeah, because you love so much. See, you do. I know you do. You love so much that we learn to get our love through others instead of healing this biofeedback loop inside that's coming from our gut, that's encouraging us, supporting us, and taking such good care of ourselves that then we have the capacity and the availability, the true resource inside to care for others. But it's part of our deprogramming to come back in and put ourselves first. Can you imagine? I just want to ask you to take a moment and let me know. Would you pop it in the chat box for me? What would happen for you if you put yourself first? And just go with the first thing, uncensored. What's the first thing? What would happen for you if you really put yourself first in your life? What would that feel like? Take a moment and just use that beautiful visionary ability you have. If you really put yourself first, what would happen? Would you fear losing love? Would you be more healthy? What would happen? Ooh, untethered. Yes, yes, Maria, I can understand. You feel guilt. Okay. Did anybody else have that one? Ooh, I feel guilty. Yeah. You have more time for yourself. You move away. Okay. Truthfully, 80% of the time I do that now. Yay, Gwen. Thank you for that. Yeah. And Elaine says empowering, more energy, less emotional eating. Good one. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you, Elaine. That's the bottom line right there. Because what do we do as women if we're not getting it in our lives and we're just so focused on everybody else and out here, out here, out here? You got to get it somewhere. So I don't know about you, but I mean, Lisa and Alina, you already know this, and some of you have been on this. Personally, I'm extraordinarily naughty. I mean, extraordinarily. It's just the mind just wants to explore and wants to go a little bit nuts. So personally, when I start getting out of myself like that, we just started, my husband and I just started a community here in Tuscany in Italy, living off grid and helping people to come back into nature. But my biggest challenge, yes, like you, is to be like, Amy, what about you? So what do I do then? I start want to reach for the chocolate. I can't do the caffeine. That just hurts my body too much. But the chocolate, I could kind of like, yeah, that sounds good. Yes, you too, Sarah. Yeah, so what is it for you? I want to ask you, based on what Elaine said, is what do you reach for when you're not taking care of yourself, food-wise, or man-wise, or woman-wise, whatever it is? What do you reach for? Alcohol, yes. Crisps, yeah. Chocolate, sugar, yep. Red wine and chocolate, oh yeah, Angie, no doubt. Oh yes, yes, we love our chocolate, don't we? We love our chocolate and wine. And here's the thing, they go together, right? I have some chocolate and then later on I want some wine. And then going through menopause right now. I wake up all dry and your vagina's drying out. I'm serious, okay? This is what happens with us. Yes, you wake up really dry because as you get older, talking about stages of life, as young women, if we don't really concentrate on getting hydrated, and I'm talking about cellular hydration, okay? Hydration that's gonna be absorbed into your tissue and your organs, that's gonna last you through the stages of your life. And if we dry ourselves out as young women, you know what really makes us age is drying out, dehydration. Yeah. So one of the major things we want to do is we want to hydrate. And all the salt and the sugar and the cheese and the crisp and the wine and the this and the that and the no, 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 no. It goes on and on, right? It's drying us out over time. Yes. So, Roots, you had sent me a message earlier asking, you mentioned your daughter about, her having some issues, and there's a couple of little things I'd like to share with you. Number one, hydration. Okay, so what I encourage you to do each morning is green juice. And I know it's time consuming. I know it is work, but it's worth it. And yes, that's right, Auntie. It's very much worth it. I'll tell you a little thing, my husband is being half Italian. He wants his wine. It's part of the culture. And before you know it, I'm drinking wine too when I never drank wine before. We're a bit impressionable, especially if you, and I had to say like to myself after a while, like, Amy, come on, back into your autonomy. So that's part of what we want to do is come back into our autonomy. If you especially are highly influenceable, you're easily influenced and you get it caught up in the people and the party, and we can still be in the party. I'm not suggesting that life get boring or anything, but what I am suggesting is that you focus on your hydration, okay? And Roots, back to one of the things you could do is start building your gut flora. This is why I would encourage you to eat more plant-based. And if you're still eating meat and dairy, remember what the enteric nervous system looks like in your colon. Meat and dairy impact our colon really strongly because our colon is kind of the last unit of the body before it exits out our anus. And remember, your enteric nervous system lives very much in your colon. So what we don't want is for your colon to get all backed up with waste, because those nerve impulses in your enteric nervous system begin to operate more slowly. And then if you have negative thoughts about yourself, or you're not feeling too good about your body, then we're sending mixed signals through our whole system. Okay, so let's come back into our green juice. Martin, yeah, what's a green juice? Good question. Okay, so let's get a little recipe here. And there's an amazing juicer I want to tell you about. And I'm going to pop this in the chat box for you. Your juicer is going to make all the difference of whether you'll do it or not. I promise. Okay, this juicer is called the Hiram, and I would encourage you to look for the one that's a self container, has a container on top of it that you just pile in and it juices for you. It's a lot easier. Okay, so a recipe could be like, Mina, maybe you could pop this in the chat box. Would be like cucumber, celery, apple, lemon, ginger, and all kinds of dark leafy greens. Now, if you live in a city, how many of you live in a city? Do you have access to nature, or? Okay, so, hopefully you have some good organic, hopefully greens around you. I live out in the woods here in Italy, and one of my favorite things to do is to go out and pick all the wild herbs, pick the wild grass, and I'll chop it down really finely. And I like to use as much wild food as I can. So if you have access to that, I would encourage you to go do some foraging, and you'll get a lot more nutrition from food that's coming out from nature. Now do your best to drink at least 1 liter every morning. Okay, that's going to start to saturate your bowel, and the apple has malic acid in it. Malic acid is a natural laxative. Now, if you have a man, or we're not gender selective here, or woman, whatever, in your life that is not on the health thing with you and wants to continue in the party and are your friends of people you love, okay, I mean, these are people we love we're talking about here. But what I encourage you to do is just give them like a little glass of your green juice. Now, at first, my husband was a little bit like, no, I mean, don't give me your green juice. Don't talk to me about all your salads and all of this stuff. But I just keep doing it myself, and I never push it on him. I don't. I only celebrate him. He's going to have his meat on occasion or his cheese or whatever. You know, I'm not going to. One of the things I want to encourage you not to do is create conflict in your relationships by preaching or teaching or telling anybody they should do anything different, because you know what it's going to be like. Boom, conflict, right? But here's what works in my experience really well. And that's because you're looking beautiful, because you're drinking your green juice. And that green juice is starting to dump out your bowels, your large intestine, or your colon that we just looked at. Now, when that happens, your enteric nervous system, those nerve impulses, are shooting messages up into your brain much quicker. You're feeling more bright. You're feeling more at peace and at ease with yourself. And you're just doing it because you feel good. Now, what about the people that you love? Well, you say, hey, would you like a little green juice? And my husband says, well, okay, I'll have a little bit, because he knows I'm not pushing it on him. He knows I'm very accepting of whatever his choices are. And so because he doesn't feel controlled, cajoled, or anything enforced upon him, he's much more interested. Okay, because you know how strong men are. Okay, you can't tell them what to do. And many of us, we like strong men because it helps us to feel more feminine. Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to have a man we're just going to push around, and that's not going to work long term either. Okay, so then he has a little bit of green juice, and then he comes back the next day and says, "Can I have a bigger glass?" Now, over time, what's happened is he drinks as much green juice as I do, and he's just as addicted as I am. He asks for salads. He asks for these things. He doesn't eat meat at home. I don't want meat at home. We're not going to have meat in the house. But we go out, maybe it comes occasionally, he has his meat, whatever. My point is this: if we as women do what we do because it feels so good for you and you're coming back into taking care of you, you're going to inspire the people you love. They're going to feel loved and accepted by you because you didn't put them down or wrong or bad. And it's going to get easier. And then encourage you, keep coming to this, keep coming to things like this where you're surrounding yourself by people who choose to be healthy, who want it, who want to live by gut instinct, essentially. So Roots, one of the things that you could help your daughter with is green juice every morning. Okay, herbal tea if you don't have a juicer. If you're going through any kind of hormonal changes, it doesn't matter what stage of life you're in, minerals. Okay, minerals are informing our hormones to operate properly. Hormones are chemical messengers in our bodies. So some of the teas that you could use for that would be like oat straw, red clover, nettles, horsetail. If you did a mixture, evenly mixed, of these 4 different herbs, and you drank about a liter a day, if you're a woman going into perimenopause or menopause, it will really calm down any hot flashes. Okay, so hydration, mineralization are going to help us to age with ease, not only in terms of helping to rebuild your body, especially if you've gone through any kind of health issues, but also in terms of helping your skin to glow. Horsetail is an amazing herb. Do you know about horsetail? It's full of silica. And silica is what makes your skin shiny. It's like, think about a cucumber. You know how cucumber's shiny? Because it's high in silica. So is horsetail. Okay, so that's how some of these foods and herbs can help support the uptake of hydration in your body. And most important, to dump your bowels out. If you're not pooing a couple of times a day, 3 times a day, this is one of our first objectives. Your skin's going to clear out, your energy is going to get better. And right away, without question, again, we want to come off the suffering, the poison, the danger of factory farm animals. It's one of the most toxic things we could do to our body is to eat animals that have been injected with hormones that are prone to superbugs because they've been jacked up with so many antibiotics. And then you, beautiful woman, you tenderness of temple of love, if we put that into our bodies, how it can pollute our bloodstream, clog up your bowel, and lead to all sorts of health issues potentially. So that's one of the reasons why I'm super passionate about plant-based foods. That's what our Go Vegan program does. If you're thinking like, okay, yeah, I'd like to do that, but I don't know how, well, I would suggest that you check out our Go Vegan program. Finally, after all these years, I had the opportunity during lockdown to, I spent 6 months writing this program. It's 4 steps in 4 weeks, and it really breaks it down on a practical level to show you how to really do this. It's really important you know how, okay? So Roots, back to your daughter though. One of the things that she could do is to also do all the things we just spoke about and start taking L. salvaris and L. plantarium. I'm gonna pop that in the chat box. We have talked about that before, and these are probiotics, L. salvaris and L. plantarium. These are 2 strands that we are getting from mother's milk. Now, if you're somebody who's you're not doing well and you're not getting well, I want to ask you 2 things. Were you breastfed? Okay. And were you vaginally birthed? If you weren't breastfed, if you weren't vaginally birthed, then you missed getting some very important microbiome, some very important flora in your system that's part of your immunity that carries you through life. So going plant-based, cleaning out your bowels, the green juice, the mineral tea we just talked about, and replenishing yourself with a probiotic that's high in L. salvaris and L. plantarium. Get one that's high in the billions. Okay, now Roots and everybody, that all of these things, though, if we don't do our emotional work as women, we're still going to be back at square root 1, wondering why we're not getting better. And that means unpacking our trauma. And just to be really upfront and, really frank about it, that has so much to do with our sexuality. So much. Okay. So if you are at all consciously or unconsciously suffering from any kind of psychological, emotional, sexual trauma in your life, these are some of the places I want to encourage you to give full attention to in such a tender, such a honoring, deeply caring way towards yourself. Not the old masculine way of, oh, we're going to solve this problem and, no. We're going to do this in a way that's of the feminine, that's using our empathic intelligence. And remember, a big part of this is technical. It begins with the health of our enteric nervous system. Yes. Let's take a big breath together. Yes, just digesting it all in. We're going to start to switch gears here and start to work in our intuitive field. We can take a question or 2 if you have any questions. You can pop it in the chat box, but let's see. Oh, you need to horsetail, nettles, oat straw, and red clover. Yeah, good. That was the mineral tea that I would suggest that you take. And that's good for all ages and stages of a woman's life. So Martin, how to embrace femininity? Thank you, great question. I call this feminizing, okay? So many of us ladies, we are still wearing our masculine protection because you've been hurt probably. And we live in a society that promotes masculine women. Because, come on, hundreds of years ago, women like you and I, we were burned at the stake. Yes. So if you study the women in history, women were a threat. So culturally speaking, throughout history, the wisdom of women, the hormonal, you know, visionary abilities have been somewhat stamped out, and through sexualization being made a commodity, we lost our femininity. And worse off, we learn to do it to ourselves and one another. So now what we're doing is we're learning to feminize, and to, instead of allowing those old barriers to armor us, we're learning to find safety and trust that it's safe to be you. It's safe to be as tender, as caring, as vulnerable. The key here is healing our old female wounds, our old feminine trauma. Because otherwise, I've got to man up. Why do we have breast cancer? Why, as a woman, by the time I was 28, I'd already had 3 ectopic pregnancies. Lost my fertility by the time I was 15 because of these issues. That's why I got so deeply into discovering, who am I as a woman? And reclaiming. I want to encourage you to think about this word reclaim. To reclaim who you are as a woman. To take back your power in your ovaries, in your breast, in your vagina, so you can say those words with no shame. And you might need support with that. You may not know how, but this is why we do things like this as women together, so that we can feel safe to feel, safe to come back into our autonomy, and we'll still be loved if we don't give all our energy away. So great question, Marnia. That's a very important one. We'll take one more question, then we're going to go a little bit deeper. Okay, so Angie says, I work long hours. Is the vegan program feasible to really incorporate in a busy routine? I follow a vegan diet, but would like to increase my nutrition. Great question, Angie. Thank you. This program is designed to study half-hour a day. I know who's here is just really busy. Are you a really busy person? Really busy lady? Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah, same. So I specifically designed this so that we could lead our busy lives, yet still take care of ourselves. So it takes a little bit of discipline to carve out a half-hour a day for yourself. And this is your time of self-care. So I would encourage you to look at your learning as self-care. So we make our green juice in the morning. Hopefully we're going to get into some meditation and, some movement and some deep feeling of who we are as a woman, in those lusciousness of you. And your study is one of those keys to your self-care. Yeah, I would highly recommend that you break it down and really take care of your gut health and your nutritional levels. There's many different ways to be vegan or plant-based. And this is a whole foods approach. It's not a junk food approach. It's about you getting deeply into you. Yeah. But we've got to learn how to do this practical. It's got to be practical, okay? Personally, I love everything supernatural. Do you love the supernatural? Do you love it? Yeah, same. But without the practical, then we don't have grounding. We don't have our feet on the ground. So we're not talking about being out here floating around. We're talking about learning an approach that helps us to get super switched on, because you and I are needed as leaders in this world, as women. Yeah, I saw this great post the other day. Maybe you saw it as well. There's a picture of the 6 countries in the world led by men and their COVID numbers. And you saw that one, Gwen. And then 6 of them led by women and their COVID numbers. all the way down and the men were all the way up. Now, this is not to bash men. I love men, okay? A lot. You know, we like men. Who likes men? You like men? We love men, okay? That's not the point. The point is what we are capable of as women, properly choices we make based on empathy, care, understanding, communication, sharing, and self-care. Very different than you know, go, go, go. I took 10 days out from here at our community and went to our house in Umbria. And my husband stayed here with our first round of volunteers. We had 20 volunteers here helping us to reclaim this retreat center in an abandoned village. We're working on a whole regeneration project. And when I came back, everybody was so tired, and you know, he's very strong and very powerful, and everybody was like, oh my God, is this what it's gonna be like the whole time? And I said, look, you know, that's great. You guys got the pool done. You know, you got 25 truckloads of garbage out. Thank you so much. And now we're going to start listening to our bodies. And now we're going to take some time for ourselves, and we're going to create balance. So if your life has been really masculine driven by your own masculinity, even, let us come back into balance and take care of your adrenal glands. You know what happens when your adrenal glands get burned out from all that masculine drive energy? What happens next is your thyroid gets blown out. And that really affects your brain chemistry. And this is all back to gut health, ladies. It's all about your gut health. The stronger, and I don't mean like, you know, that type of strong. I'm talking nutritionally strong, mineralized, hydration, vitamins, minerals, hormones. The stronger your gut health is where your wisdom lives. So let's go a little bit deeper into that now. And we're going to switch over into our intuition. So we'll open up with just a very short meditation, and we'll have time for about 2 people. Okay, so let's come into a quiet place where we allow all the information to absorb. Let's take a big breath together. Two more big breaths. And just really shake your head. Blah, blah, blah. Just kind of shake it off. And one more big breath. Grounding your energy all the way down in your body. Send your energy down into your feet. Send it down into your ovaries, your womb, your vagina, down into your feet, into the earth. Ground down. Ground yourself down. And with your next inhale, bring protection all around yourself. You feel yourself safe, grounded, stable here in your body, choosing this life to fully live, to understand yourself. And feel the top of your head opening to golden light, and it's streaming down through your whole body. So you're glowing light inside out all around you. Grounding down, protection all around. So much thanks we give to come together here. And we pray that the information here benefit all these ladies here and all the people that they touch in their lives. Okay, dear ladies, we're going to go in a little bit deeper now. Yes. And so what we do now is, if you would like to be read, then you can pop it in the chat box. And what I'll do first is I'll ask your permission, and just know it's a safe place, and I will never overexpose you, reveal too much, or in any way endanger you. Okay? It's tender work, so I'm going to ask everybody to hold space for the lady that's being read, and to hold her like a sister. Yeah. And the next thing I want to ask is that you take in the information as if there's something there for you. Sometimes people start to tune out or disassociate or check out a little bit, but I encourage you to stay super present because I feel there's probably something here for you. Yes, thank you. Okay, Jean, where are you at, Jean? Jean, where did, let's see if I'm going to slide screens here and see if I can find you.
Right here.
Hi, wonderful.
Hello.
Hi. Can I listen to your system a bit deeper? Would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, Jean, are you coming out of a very stressful period?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what your system feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does it leave you with a kind of like a big heavy sigh in your body?
Mm-hmm. That would be one way to describe it. Yeah, feels very confusing and a little traumatic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what feels really important here is that you understand why this has shown up in your life. There's a reason why, whatever this set of circumstance is, why it's here. And it's here to help you to crack open.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 And I think this, have you had some, like literally like a physical sensation of like weight on your chest here?
I've had heart palpitations. So
Yeah.
yes, I'm feeling like I'm not fitting into the energy of my body.
Right. Okay. Okay. So what it feels like is happening is that your circulation feels like it's moving slow. And we'll encourage you to stay off of heavy food because it feels like your gut health, your gut is sluggish. Okay. And your system is a bit dehydrated as well. So I encourage you to come. It feels like you're coming out of some of the caffeine and the more heavy type stuff. And
I am. I've really embraced your program, and it's going very well. But I feel very betwixt and between.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And this is where your emotional work comes in. So good for you that you're learning the practical things in the program and you're applying it. And now comes your emotional work. Here's one little thing for you, and this is for everybody now. This is a question I have for you, Jean, that this is your gift to the group. Okay. Mm-hmm. What do you need right now to trust that it's safe to go deeper inside of yourself and open up emotionally? Okay. That's a question for you. Just want to encourage you to sit with, to breathe with, and to allow yourself to trust that if you are to access, okay, because here's the thing, what you've just been through in this last period feels like I get a picture of a spear, and what it's doing is it's piercing open your heart, okay, and it's palpitations, opening everything up so that you can feel on a very deep level some things that you have forgotten that is part of your reclaiming process as a human being, as a woman. So in a nutshell, it says like, don't forget that you're still a woman. And at this time in your life, to really reclaim your value and how much you have to give.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's take a big breath together, everybody. Big breath. And one more big breath. And if any part of Jean's message resonates for you, encourage you to extract, pluck it out now. Pluck that out and put that feather in your cap. And know that this is something for you to allow anything that you've been through recently to open you up. Let it happen. Let it happen. and let it touch that part of you that's asking for reprieve, for release, for surrender, trusting that it's safe for you to feminize. And as Jean showed us, so in such a brave way, thank you for your braveness. See, she's giving herself permission to feel right now.
Yeah.
That's what I see. Okay.
That's what I feel.
Yes, doll, I can feel it. Yeah. So see, she's showing us what it is to crack that place open. And I know you as a woman know what I'm talking about. And she's showing us what it feels, how trepidatious, how like vulnerable it is to feel. But what's happening right now, if this messaging is correct here, is that what she's doing in her gut, in her autonomic, her enteric nervous system, is sending messages into her brain that are retrieving messages from her childhood. Okay, so encourage you. Here's the key, Jean, and everybody: stay open. Feel it. Let it seep in. Let it reclaim you. May you reclaim the innocence of that little girl inside of you who's still alive, who's still tender, who still has so much love and worth and value to give. And for you ladies who are already in menopause or after, this is for you. Don't allow those voices inside of your head that tell you don't have anything to offer to eat you up. And I know what some of you younger ladies are thinking. What do you mean? I go through that too. Of course you do. And that same voice that we as older, we get older, that voice only gets stronger if we don't allow ourselves to open up and trust and to reveal ourselves when we're younger. So younger ladies, trust that it's really important for your female health. It's important for your hormonal health, so you don't armor up yourself. And older ladies, just eradicate that voice best you can that you don't have anything to offer, because you're an elder who has wisdom. But if you don't claim it, which means reclaiming yourself, then we relegate ourselves to the bottom of the pile, and you got to go back to all that kind of service that doesn't serve you to get some love. It's not worth it. And it depletes your hormonal reserves. Let's take another big breath. Oh, you lovely ladies. I love you all so much, my God. What we're capable of, what we go through as women. If we can just own it unabashedly. And I don't mean vanity, you know what I mean. I mean, because this is who you are, who we are, in the purity of your essence. It's our gift. We just got idolized, sexualized, iconized, materialized, all that stuff. We're just stripping it all back now. I'm getting down to that tenderness. So thank you, Jean, for your being so brave to bring this into the group. Let's give Jean a big thank you, a big prayer. Thank you, Jean. One lady speaks for all ladies. Yeah, bless. We're going to go a little bit over. So if you need to go, thank you for being here. But I want to, take one more lady here. Okay. Abby. Where are you, Abby? Okay, swipe some screens, see if I can find you. Oh, where'd you go? Let me see if I can find you. Oh, there you are, Abby. Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm just adjusting my screen here so I can see you a bit better. There we go. Hi, love.
Hi.
Would it be okay if I listen to your system on a deeper level?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Did you feel, have you felt like misunderstood growing up and in your life?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel a bit different to my sisters,
Mm-hmm.
but quite similar to my brother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. So thank you for being here. One of the really important element for you is is healing what it feels like. Let me ask you first, do you have female wounding?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So healing your female wounding, and this is a gift you're bringing in with, I know a lot of the ladies here have this. Okay. So thank you. This is really important message for all the ladies here. And thank you for your courage. Healing your feminine wounding at this young age in your life is really important. Okay. And seeking refuge in the masculine can only take you so far, because what it feels like is it's doing is it's unconsciously fostering and feeding refuge in the masculine in a way that doesn't allow you to develop it out of your own tenacity and your own inner knowing of you. And you have your own particular strength and your own particular wisdom that if it becomes, if you look towards your brother or men in general to protect you from women, essentially, in the child's mind, and we're talking like in a subconscious level, on a hidden level even, that it might take you out of your personal power.
Mm-hmm.
What it feels like you're looking at is how your own personal power. That's what we're looking at here.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're not shy. You're really not. But you might perceive yourself as shy because when you begin to feel tender and vulnerable, you're feeling a little bit tender right now.
Yeah, I would say lockdown has been,
Yeah.
I guess, for all of us, a big emotional roller coaster.
So especially in this particular moment, if you can notice, if you can scan your system, and this is for everybody here, you scan your system and ask yourself, am I feeling it all a little bit tender?
Mm-hmm.
You may be unfamiliar with what feminizing in a safe way feels and looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore you might call yourself shy and even emotionally shut down or hide away.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to just help you to know that this is what it feels like. And I want to encourage you to question if that means that you're shy, and help you to question if that means you shutting down, and allow yourself to be seen here.
Mm-hmm.
Allow yourself to be revered even here. Because your ability, you have a strong ability, what it feels like is you have a very strong ability to communicate and to share, as long as you feel secure within yourself. But if you flip into that old insecurity, then you lose one of your greatest abilities, which is intimacy and sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage you to get familiar with what vulnerability feels like and trust it, and trust it's safe to feminize. But here it is in a nutshell. It's going to ask you to heal your female wounding.
Great, thank you. Doing a lot of women's work at the moment, so hopefully that will, being in a women's group will help me.
How does that feel for you?
Well, groups intimidate me, but once I connect with people and trust them, I can open up quite easily. Yeah, I think I can be, like you said, I can be quite honest and open quite quickly.
In this moment,
Bond.
what I'm going to ask you is to drop out of their mind, tune in with yourself for a moment,
Always in my head.
and see if it's safe to feel. Just find out if it's safe to feel.
Yeah.
Thank you for your willingness to be seen here and to step out in this way. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome. So let's just review for a moment these deep messages. And what Abby is showing us is that if we are willing to come out of the thinking, drop into the feeling, and your body knows. Your body knows. And these two are messages from your enteric nervous system into your brain. When you feel safe enough to be you, vulnerable, tender, alive. And notice, I want to encourage you as your homework this week, if you so choose, notice if you begin to arm up or man up and how it takes you into thinking instead of feeling and being willing to be witnessed for your tenderness. So that's your homework this week if you so choose. And a question to get you started with that is, what does it mean for me to feminize? What does it mean for me to feminize? Yes. If you'd like to let us know how you're doing, pop it in the chat box. If you'd like to leave any sort of testimonial or anything that you think would be helpful for us to know, we pop it in the chat box. That's helpful for us. And if there's anything that you would really like to learn, what would it be? What do you need to grow as a woman? What calls you from within yourself to be the best female version of you, to feel safe enough to be all of you? What do you need that includes all of you? Yes, unconditional love, Erica. Erica, I have so much unconditional love for you. It's just nuts. So actually, I've known Erica since she was a very young woman. She's a mama now. But that same unconditional love I want to extend to all of you. Why? Because that's what we do as women, right? That's what we do. And if Go Vegan calls you and you want to get down into your gut health, you want to really break it down, encourage you to do that for sure. We do this every Thursday. Please do tell your friends if you find this interesting, if it benefits you. And lastly, I want to encourage you to trust your gut instinct, those gut impulses. You know that feeling when it's like you just know? Yeah, that's your biochemistry interacting in your brain in a really good way. I encourage you to trust it, go with it, and see what happens for you when you trust yourself instead of getting masculine. Remember, it's nothing personal. That's our conditioning as women to protect ourselves. Would you be safe if you didn't protect yourself with masculine energy? And if you have any, like Abby showed us, if you have some female wounding to work out, I want to encourage you to do that. And like Jean showed us, if something is there cracking you open in your life right now, will you let it in? Reach out, dear ladies. Feel free to drop me a message. Nicole, nice to see you as well. Keep with your good work. Stephanie, Irene, Maria, Elaine, Esther, Lisa, everybody. Kiki, Joyce. Good to see you, women. Carolyn and Roots and Sati, everybody. Lots of love to you, beautiful ladies. Yasmin, take good care of yourselves, huh? And know that this space is here for you. Reach out anytime. Do share. May you spread all the goodness of you. Mwah. Bye, dear ladies.
Thank you.
Okay.